Rotarians, I now call this webinar to order. This webinar may be a training to some clubs, a refresher course to others, but we are very fortunate that our host tonight is the very charming Barbet Luminoque, our District 360 trainer. Take it away, DT Barbet.
Okay, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Thank you for that thumbs up. Anyway, welcome to this training on managing your finances to be delivered. The presentation is to be delivered by no less than an import from from the Rotary International, Miss Rosalind Ong herself. Let's give her a big round of applause first. Okay, this is really a very opportune time that Miss Rosalind Ong is giving us her precious time and expertise in going to explain to us how do we manage our club finances. So she just had a training from another district, and there were really a lot of participants, and I think that some of you were able to attend such a Zoom meeting, and by popular demand, we are requesting her to be with us with District 3860 to duplicate the training, because it has always been the problem of some clubs that we do not know how to get our invoices. We do not know, we do not understand what the numbers in the invoice say. We do not know how to pay, and all those questions. And I'm pretty much sure that by the end of this Zoom meeting, all your questions about the Rotary invoice and about Rotary finance will be answered by our resource speaker. All right, so it's really a great honor for me to introduce again our guest speaker, Miss Rosalind Ong. And again, let's give her a big round of applause. All right, so our MC today is, and at the same time, our host is our Assistant Governor for Area 1B. So to continue with the program, I'd like to turn you over again to our master of this ceremony. AG Raymond, can you please continue with the proceedings? Thank you.
Let us put ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Invocation to be led by President Esther Concha.
Press Esther, we could not hear you. Can you please increase the volume of your speaker?
Unmute.
And if you can repeat the prayer, please. Thank you. Press Esther. since we could not hear you, if it's all right that we will just play an AVP of the prayer. All right.
Dear God, thank you for the opportunity to meet together. Please help us to come together to make this institution reflect your kingdom. Breathe life into our ideas and decisions. Help us build a team that has love and respect at its heart. Give us the strength to continue working for your kingdom in this time of pandemic. Lord, come give us the inspiration to be the best we can be. May we be a shining example of the goodness and truth within, wherever we are. Inspire our thoughts, discussions, and ideas, and continue to remind us that all that we do here today, all that we accomplish, is for the pursuit of truth for the greater glory of you. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
I will sing
I shall serve my community, help achieve universal unity. To Rotary, I shall dedicate my all. World understanding shall be my cherished goal. With a four-way test, I'll pursue my quest, giving my little way help attain. Peace in the world, I shall not have lived in vain. I'll serve, service above self, lend a hand to all who need my help. I'll give my spouse to involve in Rotary, and in Rotary ways I will train my family. With a four-way test, we'll pursue our quest, giving our little way help attain. is our guide. With a four-way test, we'll pursue our quest, living our little way of the day. Peace in the world, we shall not have living way. Peace be achieved, we shall not have
The four-way test and the objects of Rotary will now be recited upon by the President-elect of RCC Bufuente, Jose Marie Ponce.
Let's all recite. Let's all recite the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Is it fair to all? Is it fair to all concerned?
Is it fair?
Will it
to all
build
concerned?
goodwill and better friendship? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Will it build goodwill and better friendship? And will it build beneficial to all concerned?
Objects of Rotary. First, the development of acquaintance and opportunity for service. Second, high ethical standards in business and professions, the recognition of worthiness of all useful occupations, and the dignifying of each Rotarian's occupation as an opportunity to serve society. Third, the application of the ideal of service in each Rotarian person's personal, business, and community life. Fourth, the advancement of international understanding, goodwill, and peace through a world fellowship of business and professional persons united in the ideas of service.
Introduction of Rotarians and visiting Rotarians will now be done by President Lloyd Aliviado, the Rotary Club of Cebu North.
Pleasant evening to all, and it is my honor to acknowledge the following people or that are very important in this seminar that we're going to have. So first and foremost, I would like to acknowledge our district governor, the presence of District Governor Lilo Itaas Alinio. So do with our district governor-elect, Rose Ann Gamboa. We also have the district trainer, Barbette Luminuque, our district disaster management coordinator, and classmate president Archie Francisco Gamboa, district Rotaract representative Shivi Risolado, my assistant governor Raymond Alfar, Rotary International Rosalyn Ong, and then we also have the Polio Plus Subcommittee Chair, Doc Alain Sinorpeda. I would like to acknowledge as well the presence of our End Polio Now Coordinator and past District Governor May Ann Solomon, and our Rotaract Public Image Representative J.N. Diani Dagandan. Also to fellow presidents of the different clubs and also Rotaractors, in which I come to notice that a lot of them are here, especially the newly inducted officers of the Rotaract Club of Cebu North, University of the Philippines, Cebu. So thank you for being around. It has been a pleasure and honor. And for those who are not mentioned, especially those that are coming from different places, like the Rotary Club of Ubay, um, the Rotary Club of Cebu, Cebu Fuente, IPP Burns, good evening. RCC Cedric Di Parini, RCCF Doc Alain, you are already mentioned, and the rest, I'm so sorry if I was not able to name you. A pleasant good evening.
Thank you, President Lloyd. President Claudine Hibaya of the Rotary Club of Mandawi will now do an introduction of our guest speaker.
Imaginative Rotarians, Rotaractors, and friends from Rotary, good evening. It is my pleasure to be chosen to introduce our distinguished speaker for this evening. Our speaker works as a financial accountant at the Rotary International South Pacific and Philippines office in Sydney, Australia. She is a certified accountant in Australia and the Philippines, and supports clubs and districts in the Philippines on finance matters, including matters relating to RI dues, PRF contributions, as well as statutory reporting. She also assists with reports, data, and resources. After finishing her accountancy degree as a cum laude, she worked for over 10 years in commercial nonprofit and academic roles before joining Rotary International, where she now has worked for more than 8 years in her accounting role. The topic of managing club finances is one very important aspect of running a club, not only for the officers, but also for members of our club to better appreciate the importance of collection, remittance in a timely manner, and how this is an important health check for our clubs. Without further ado, I give you Ms. Rosaline Ong.
Thank you so much. Thank you to our District 3860 for having me here tonight. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge our District Governor, DG Lilo Alino, our District Governor-elect Roseanne Gamboa, our NPolio now Zone Coordinator, PDG Mayan Solomon, PDG Yumi Espina, our District Secretary John Fernandez, District Trainer Barbette Lominoke, our Lead Assistant Governor Raymond Alfar, and other Assistant Governors, our District Officers, Club Presidents, our District Rotaract Representative Chevy Resolado, Rotarians, Rotaractor spouses, and guests, thank you so much. Good evening. Thank you for joining me in this presentation tonight, and of course, for organizing this event for District 3860. As DT Barbette mentioned earlier, I did the same topic for several districts I think it was around 4 weeks ago, physically in Manila, and then over a Zoom meeting. And I am very glad to be doing this for District 3860 and share whatever I can in my role as your financial accountant. And I hope that by the end of tonight, you will have some things you can bring home. I mean, I know that I'm not your ideal date for tonight. It's a Monday night. You would have been, getting some rest for the week ahead, but you've joined me tonight. It's 7:30 in your time. We probably will be staying around 12 midnight. No, I hope not, but yeah, tonight we will be discussing some of your responsibilities to Rotary International, but I did also want to show you a few TRF reports that you can use in your role as club officers in achieving your goals. And most importantly, we will be answering some questions at the end of the presentation. However, of course, I am just one part of the RI staff in Sydney, and there are things that are not in my expertise, so I won't be able to answer some questions. We will try to send it to them if ever I can't answer. So we move on to our topic so that I won't stay until 12. Let me try to share my screen. I hope it works. So okay. All right, I think it is working. So I've also just a note that I've turned off my chat because it sometimes takes me off my focus. So if ever you can't hear me, or you've lost me, if you could turn on your audio and just let me know. So we start off with I've always used managing club finances as like the title of my presentation, but I've been thinking about it and I feel like it probably is not the right title. Probably is more like club administration and responsibilities of club officers, something to that effect. But anyway, the topics that we will be discussing today will be under both Rotary International and Rotary Foundation. For Rotary International, you have your club dues for both Rotary and Rotaract clubs. And under Rotary Foundation, of course, the contributions to the Rotary Foundation. I did want to discuss the banners as well. And then at the end of the presentation, if we have time, then we will answer some questions. So we start off with your club dues under Rotary International. And we're starting off with the Rotary Club dues. So as you know, to be an official Rotary Club, you have to be registered with Rotary International. And this means that the club is billed semi-annual dues. Semi-annual meaning we are taking the Rotary year, which is July to June. So semi-annually, we bill every July and every January. And this club invoice, this is an example of the club invoice you can see on the screen. This is the July 2022 invoice. This was emailed to registered officers of the club around the 3rd or 4th week of July. And we only email the first page without the details. So if you wanted to view the details, you can log into My Rotary. However, like I said a while ago, you have to be registered as an officer of the club in order to view this. So if you are not registered as an officer, or even if you are registered, but you do not have an email address registered in our database, then we will not have any means of communication with you, as well as you are unable to log into My Rotary as an officer. So what's important is that your role is reported to us for you to be able to receive your invoice. Okay, now, like I mentioned, you can view your invoice on My Rotary. This is actually available on My Rotary the day before we send to you. So you can, some people from the first week, they are very excited. They keep asking when is the invoice available. It's actually sent out around, we finalize, membership and everything, and we send it out around the 3rd week of July and January. So just for your reference for the 2nd semester invoice. But then you can always, always check your My Rotary to see if it's already on there. And I have in here a video on how you can view your club invoice on My Rotary. Like I said, you should be registered on My Rotary, and you should be registered as an officer of the club to be able to do this.
Log in to My Rotary. Hover on Manage. Hover on Club and District Administration. Click on Club Administration. Under Club Administration, under Club Finances, under Club Invoice, click on Club Invoice.
Yeah, well, okay. And okay, it's not playing. Let me just reshare that page. Hold on.
Upon clicking on Club Invoice, the club section. Upon clicking on Club Invoice, the club's account overview page appears. Scroll down to see how much is the club's balance. On this page, click on View Current Invoice to see the same invoice emailed to the officers at the start of the semester. Click on View Current Invoice.
Sorry. Am I coming out clear? Rotarian Lorna, did you have something to say?
It's a little bit choppy.
Anything? Okay. All right. Okay. I'll just go ahead. So I hope that came out clear. So if you log into my Rotary, you can actually go to club administration, and then you can view your club invoice on there. And you can also view the invoice details, where you will find the list of members that were billed in your club invoice, because when we send out your club invoice, it does not have the details on there. So you need to go on my Rotary as an officer of the club to view who were billed. You can also see on there who were billed prorated dues, and if there are members who are subscribed to the international magazine, it is also available in there. So there are 3 items that you will find. Well, there's 3 general items you will find on your club invoice. You've got your club dues, pro rata dues, if applicable, and other fees. So your club dues. Now, I just wanted to say that starting July last year, we've translated the invoice in local currency. So for Philippines, that's in Philippine peso. You would have noticed your invoice is already in Philippine peso. It used to be in US dollars, but now that it's been translated to Philippine peso, you should pay in Philippine peso. So on here, on this page, you will see how much dues are being billed this semester, this year for the amount that you're looking at are per semester dues per member. So per capita or per member, it's 35.50 per semester for 22 to 23. So per annum, you multiply that by 2. And for the next 3 years, you will also find the amounts that you will be billed on this screen. Now, there are times when you see prorated dues on your invoice. Now, what are prorated dues? It's a very common question that I receive. Prorated dues, these are dues that are applicable to members that were admitted in the previous semester after the invoice for that semester has been billed. So say for example, July 2022 invoice, na-bill kayo, we sent your invoice on the 3rd week of July. However, in August, say for example, you admitted on the 15th of August, you admitted 2 members. Okay, so obviously these members were not included in the July invoice because they were not yet admitted, and you recorded them in your membership list as of 15th of August. These members will have to pay their dues. However, they were not included in the July 2022 invoice. So you would expect that in the next invoice, January 2023 invoice, the dues applicable to them for first semester will be recorded as, or will be shown as, prorated dues. So how do we calculate this? It is 1/6, or obviously that's your semi-annual dues of 35.50, for example, divided by 6, because we're taking how much dues it is per month, multiply by the full month of membership in the previous semester. So in my previous example, there were 2 members who were admitted on the 15th of August. So August is not a full month. They will only be billed from September to December. So that will be 4 months, multiplied by 35.50 times 6. Okay. The other fee that you will find on your club invoice, you've got your RI fees. So under RI fees, you will have your Council on Legislation fees, or COL fees. This is $1 per member, and we are billing COL fees only in the first semester invoice. You will not find this, therefore, in your January 2023 invoice. Now, you also know that Rotary members, Rotarians, are required to subscribe to a magazine. It can be the international magazine, which is called Rotary, which we handle in Rotary International, or you have the option to subscribe to your regional magazine. If you are subscribing to the regional magazine, we do not handle this. You will have to subscribe directly to your regional magazine provider in the Philippines. It is called Philippine Rotary Magazine. So you will not find it in the dues or the invoice that we receive, that we send you. But if you are subscribed to to Rotary, then you will find it there. And on this screen, you will also find how much we bill if you are subscribed to Rotary. And also you have the option, say for example, you want to keep updated to international topics, then you can also subscribe to both, okay? There are clubs who have not subscribed to the magazine, and this and PRM actually reports these clubs. They coordinate with Rotary International with data services, which clubs are not subscribed to any magazine, and they have the power to ask for suspension of the clubs. So you can be suspended if you are not subscribed to a magazine. Okay, so yeah, I think that's just the only ones that I wanted to say here. Okay, so how do we calculate your club invoice? It depends. It's calculated based on your membership list as of 1st of July and 1st of January. So honorary members, as you know, they are not billed pro rata dues. However, the cutoff dates are 1st of July and 1st of January. So as officers of a club, you have the responsibility to update your membership information within 30 days from termination or admission. However, you should put it in not later than 1st of July and 1st of January. So we do not make any adjustments. Say, for example, you say, oh, I forgot to record any adjustment or, terminations by cutoff date. Can you please reduce my invoice? Well, we can't. Since January 2015, your board of directors have issued a policy saying that we cannot adjust your membership for termination. So it is final and payable once it is issued. Thus, you make sure as an officer of the club that you are updating your membership information, especially before, like, say especially for June 30, for previous year officers, because the incoming officers, they do not have access to the to My Rotary unless you report them as officers of the incoming year. So you need to make sure that it is recorded in there. Otherwise, no one is able to update your membership information. So your invoice, it is payable as soon as we send it out, okay? We send you 30-day, 60-day, and 90-day reminder letters. So you are not yet going to be terminated if you do not pay within these periods, but it is still payable. Now, it is important to note that for purposes of Rotary citation, we have a minimum requirement that you pay your dues, both first semester and second semester dues, in full and on time. So in full meaning you should have zero balance. Pero pag kunyari po yung balance nyo merong 50 pesos na balance, wag nyo na pong bayaran yung 50 pesos kasi mas mataas pa po yung babayaran nating bank charges sa 50 pesos. So just leave it. It will go on the next invoice. You don't have to settle, very minimal balances. It won't affect your Rotary citation. But more importantly, you have to pay your dues on time to achieve the Rotary, to achieve the minimum requirement of the Rotary citation. So what is on time? We are saying you have paid on time if you did not receive your 60-day reminder letter. So I have, I think I've posted something on my my social media page as well. We need to receive for July 2022 invoice, we need to receive full payment of your dues by the 19th of July so that you do not receive your 60-day reminder letter. And that means you have paid on time, okay? So it will be the same with January 2023 invoice. The cutoff date, September 19 po. That's going to be in 7 days, Monday. Okay. If you are still unable to pay your dues within 120 days, we will terminate your club. So you have 120 days before your club is terminated. Once your club has been terminated, you have 150 days from termination date to reinstate your club. So with club reinstatements, within those 150 days from termination date, you should have paid your financial obligations as well as sent us a reinstatement form. So your financial obligations, this includes your past due balances. So na-terminate kayo, ibig sabihin hindi kayo nagbayad previously, those are your past due balances. And then you include the dues for the current semester. Okay, and then there's a reinstatement fee of $30 per member. Also, you need to send us the reinstatement form plus the list of members to be reinstated. So yung pong reinstatement fee based po siya dun sa list of members that you will be reinstating. Let's say for example nung na-terminate po yung club ninyo, you had 30 members and then you decide, okay, 20 members na lang ang nag-decide to reinstate, then you will calculate 30 members times 20 members, active members times $30 reinstatement fee. Okay? Tapos, yung dues for the semester will also be the same. 20 members times, say for example, nag-reinstate kayo next year, $36.50. Tapos yung past due balances, yung total na hindi nyo nabayaran for the previous semester. Okay, so if you were unable to reinstate within 150 days, then you will no longer be eligible for reinstatement, and this means you have lost your charter. So your original, of course, you will have, the option to recharter. Pwede kayong mag team up again and say, you know what, we want to use the same name, then that's fine. I mean, I think the policy is that you can use the same club name after 1 year. Pero ang problema doon, you've lost your original charter date. So for example, your club has been, a Rotary member since 1970s, and then just because you haven't paid 1 semester, 2 semester dues, you've been terminated, you were unable to reinstate, you've lost that original charter, and I feel like it's a waste, and I think you will agree with me. Now, how do you pay your club invoice? So temporarily, and we are very sorry for this, we've suspended payments through My Rotary, and what happened was because we translated your dues to local currency, Philippine peso, and our partner with credit cards is still unable to add Philippine peso in the list of currencies, then we have temporarily suspended this because, like I said earlier, we need to receive your payments in Philippine peso. So for now, the only way to receive payment is through BPI. We have an account at BPI, as you know, and on here you will find the account details, the account number. So just a note that we have separate accounts for Rotary International and Rotary Foundation. So you deposit payments, club dues payments into the Rotary International account. If you are putting in your contributions, please use the Rotary Foundation bank account. Okay. Now, how do you reference your deposit? Here you will find the recommended referencing format. It's your club ID, and you do not have to write yung C000. You can drop off the C000. Just use the last 5 or 6 digits of your club ID, and then your club name. And if you wanted, you can also include your invoice number, and you don't have to put INV, the invoice number. Now, the invoice number, just a note, some of you are still using, like, for example, hahanapin nyo yung deposit slip nyo in previous payments, and then you use the same invoice. So the invoice number actually changes every semester. So please find the correct invoice number at the top part of your club invoice. And that should be the invoice number you are using. Otherwise, you can only use, you can use just your club ID, that's fine. It doesn't have to be including the invoice number. But it's more important that you use your club ID. So like I said here, you don't have to add the C00. You don't have to write Rotary Club off. Kasi ang problema po dito, the club report reports only a minimal number of lines or texts, and that's why kung Rotary Club off sinulat nyo, nawawala na yung last, yun lang nakikita namin, yung last part hindi namin makita, so hindi na namin na-identify immediately yung payment ninyo. Not your name, not my name, not Rotary International, not the account number. These are the common referencing information errors that I see, so I've included in here. Please use your club ID only. Now, how to pay your invoices. So the other so BPI has this feature to use BPI online, and I've shown in here how you can pay your invoice using BPI online.
Log in to BPI Online. Click on Other Services. Click on Manage Billers and Payees under Manage Recipients. Click on Add New Recipient. Under Recipient, click on Billers. Type Rotary to search for Rotary International and the Rotary Foundation. Add Rotary International for dues payments and add the Rotary Foundation for contributions. Add your club ID and club name on the reference number. Note that this is the only information reported to us on your fund transfers. Click on Next.
Okay, so so the point there is that you need to enroll Rotary International and the Rotary Foundation as recipient before you transfer money to our accounts. So please do not, so when you're paying, you need to use payments or load and not transfer money, because transfer money, if you use this, we do not receive your invoice or your payment details. And so normally these are the ones that float in our books. So please use payments or load, and to be able to use this, you have to enroll Rotary International and Rotary Foundation before transferring your money. Okay. Now we also will start billing Rotaract dues this year. So it's an annual per capita dues beginning this year. And on here, you will find how much we will be billing. For university-based clubs, it's $5 per member. And for community-based clubs, it's $8 per member. So the first annual invoice will be billed in January 2023. There is no more one-time fee for chartering a new Rotaract club. It used to be, to charter a new Rotaract club, if you remember, you have to pay $50 charter fee. That has been eliminated. And like your Rotary club, it will be based on the number of members as of 1st of January. However, the difference is that there will be no Council on Legislation fees, and Rotaractors are not required to subscribe to a magazine. For those who are dual members, that is, they are both Rotaractors and Rotarians, then they will be paying 2 dues. Now, we move on to the Rotary Foundation. So for your contributions, for individual contributions, you can both use My Rotary or you can make a deposit at BPI. So I wanted to show you how you can check your donations. And this is through your donation history report. You can check your donation history report to see if your contribution that you've put in through My Rotary or you've deposited on BPI has been posted. Okay, it's not playing. I'll have to reshare.
Log in to My Rotary. Click on your name at the top right part of the page. Click on My Donations. On this page, you will find your active recurring donations, if any. Click on Donor History Report to view all your contributions as well as points transfers, points balances, and PHF or major donor level. Under Individual Reports, click on Donor History Report. Your Donor History Report has two tabs. The
Okay, I think it stopped. So it's saying in there that your donor history report has two tabs. You've got your overview tab, and under beside it is your transaction detail tab. So if you click on transaction detail tab, you will find all your transactions from the start, and including your points transfers, the points that you receive. And then on that page, you can also download your donor history report to PDF or an Excel file. Okay. Now, more importantly as well, seeing that our audience, there's a lot of officers, and I just wanted to show you that as an officer of the club, you can donate in behalf of members through My Rotary or through BPI as well. So through My Rotary,
log into My Rotary and click on Donate. Choose the type of fund you would like to donate to. Browse at the ribbon at the top to see the common types of funds. Say you want to make a cash contribution into a global grant. Look for Global Grants and enter the 7-digit grant number. The grant has to be pre-approved before you can make an online cash contribution. The most common funds are found under featured causes. If you, for example, the total, add your personal information as
so from there, after you've added, the amount per member, then you will be able to review your donation and then add in your credit card number and your name as a remitter. And then once you've hit submit, you will receive a confirmation through email as well as confirmation on that My Rotary page. And then the donors will also be receiving a receipt through email. Okay, So the other way is to deposit over the counter at BPI. And on here, like I was saying earlier, we have a separate account for the Rotary Foundation. And for Rotary Foundation, you can choose to put in US dollars. And on here, you will find the US dollar account as well. Okay, I've also included in here the common types of funds that you can use. I mean, that you normally put money into. You've got your annual fund share, Polio Plus. If you have to donate into a global grant, then you're putting in your global grant number. Or for endowment funds, you indicate your endowment fund ID. Or for direct gifts, it starts with T and the direct gift ID. You can put into disaster response, and disaster response actually is also an annual fund. And so this increases your annual fund per capita as well. ROF means return of funds. If you are returning unused funds on a global grant, and then you've got your World Fund, which is not very popular in the Philippines, but it's available if you want to put donations into it. So you're referencing on the deposit slip, if you are donating for multiple donors, then you use your club ID and then the type of fund. If you are donating for individual donors, then you use the donor ID and then the type of fund. Now, you can also deposit to BPI using BPI Online. I showed you earlier that there are 3 Rotary billers in there. You've got the Philippine Rotary Magazine, you've got Rotary International for dues payments, and you've got the Rotary Foundation for your contributions. So if you want to put in a contribution, then choose the Rotary Foundation, and then under reference, then you also put in your donor ID if you are donating for individuals, or club ID if you're donating for clubs. However, I just wanted to say again, I just wanted to reiterate that we only see your reference, the reference that you put in your enrollment when you transfer your money. So sometimes, like say, for example, you've already enrolled, because the enrollment, it only happens once. You don't have to re-enroll RI or TRF once you've enrolled previously. Now, say for example, you've already used your personal ID as reference in your enrollment, then every time you make a transfer or a payment to the foundation or Rotary, take note that what appears in the bank reports is your club your donor ID, if that was the information that you put in there initially. So just make sure, just be mindful about this. You can change it again if you, for example, are this time donating for another person, then you can change it under enroll recipients. But even if you transfer or make a payment and then under notes you put in the right person, we don't see that. So otherwise, you can always send me your information so that I can check that I've posted it to the correct person. Okay, if you are donating for if you are putting in a lump sum payment for multiple donors, then please send us a copy of the deposit slip and fill up a multiple donor form in Excel format. I'm pretty sure that I have sent this widely, the multiple donor form in Excel file, and please use this instead of the PDF file, and send it back to me in the same format, which is Excel. You don't have to print it. You don't have to convert it to PDF or, convert it to PNG or, a picture file. Send it to me through Excel. Okay, so I also wanted to let you know about some of the policies that we are now imposing more strictly. These policies have actually been in effect for about 2 years now, but I haven't been imposing it. I was trying to impose it slowly to you, but now we have to impose it more strictly. On reclassifications, which refers to moving your contribution from one fund type to another, we have a very strict policy for global grant contributions. So if you've donated to a global grant, and you say, for example, say, oh, I don't want to put it into global grant. After all, I want to put it as an annual fund contribution or a polio fund, we can't reclassify your global grant contributions. It will have to stay there. Similarly, if you've, say, for example, donated to annual fund in July, say $1,000, and then you say, oh, can I use that annual fund contribution for a global grant that had been approved in September? We can't reclassify your global grant contribution. Unless, for example, you put in a global grant contribution for a fund that has not yet been pre-approved. So you can do that if you put it in through BPI. But you do know that once it does not get approved, then we will have to reclassify it immediately to annual fund share, and we cannot refund your global grant contribution. Now, for general contributions, like, for example, annual fund contributions or polio fund, whatever type of fund, you can reclassify this. Say, for example, you put in an annual fund contribution and you want to reclassify it to polio fund. It has to be within the same Rotary year, and you can only reclassify within 60 days from the deposit date. So after 60 days, we no longer allow reclassifications. Now we have redistributions as well. Redistributions is moving from one, actually this is moving from one, actually no, this is still reclassification, sorry. This should still be reclassifications on endowment funds. So for endowment funds, you can only put in contribution into an endowment fund if the primary donor has already completed the initial $25,000 contribution to set up the endowment fund. Okay, so for endowment funds as well, only the primary donors can donate into their personal endowment funds, and other donors can only put additional contribution into district or club endowment funds. Okay, let me have an example to better illustrate this. Say, for example, Digililo, for example, she wanted to set up her own endowment fund in her own name. Then we have, endowment fund ID number 2357, for example. She can only put additional contributions into this endowment fund if she's already completed the initial $25,000. Okay, she can now start topping up 1,000 every year, etc. Now, if, for example, you wanted to put, say, for example, Govmean wanted to put 1,000 into Digililo's personal endowment fund, she cannot. Only Digililo can put money into her own endowment fund. But say, for example, the club or the district has its pooled endowment fund. Say, for example, Rotary Club of Cebu, which already has an existing endowment fund in the club's name, then anyone can top up to that endowment fund because the initial 25,000 had already been completed. Okay. Now, redistributions, this is moving from one person or a club to a different donor. So, for example, it was recorded previously in the club's credit and you want to record it to the members of the club, we can redistribute it if the contribution per member is $5 and over. Okay, so if you are, say, for example, you have a $10 contribution from Rotary Club of Cebu, for example, and then you say, can I distribute this amongst 10 members of the club? Unfortunately, we cannot redistribute it because that's below $5. So if it were below $5 per donor, then it will have to be recorded. The whole amount will have to be recorded in the club's credit. Okay. Now, the other thing that I wanted to discuss tonight are your banners. And these are some of the achievements or awards that you can earn during a Rotary year. And if you earn this, we normally send the banners out around August or September in the next year. Okay, so of course, as well, when you earn your banner in the reports, your club will be shown as having achieved these banners. So we have 4 regular banners that we send out. You've got your foundation, 100% foundation giving club, the ERA, or every Rotarian every year club. I don't know if you guys know ERA. So a lot of people are saying ERA, ERA. ERA means every Rotarian every year. Okay. And then we've got your 100% Paul Harris Society Club. And you've got the top 3 per capita in annual fund giving banner recognitions. Okay. So 100% foundation giving club. What does this mean? It means that all members of the club has donated to TRF, to any type of fund, and there is an average TRF giving of $100 or more. Okay, so the difference between Foundation Giving Club and the Foundation Giving Club and the next banner, which is ERA, is that for Foundation Giving Club, you can donate into any type of fund. Okay, you can have put in polio, for example, hindi ka nag-donate sa annual fund, you're still a Foundation Giving member. Okay, so for example, there are 10 members, yung 9 members nag-donate sa polio, all those 9 members are Foundation Giving members. However, the club would not have achieved Foundation Giving Club banner if the other member does not donate. So it has to be all members, 100% participation. Okay. Now, every Rotarian every year, this is very famous, you will have to have donated at least, you will have 100% participation, and there is $100 or more in per capita giving to the annual fund. So like I was saying, dapat for ERA, you should have donated to the annual fund. Okay, so now for ERA, well, you can be an ERA individual, and then if all the members are ERA individuals and the per capita is $100 or more, then the club is ERA club. Okay, so for example, member ako ng Rotary Club of Sydney, for example, nag-donate ako ng $25, then I am an ERA member. Okay, but it doesn't mean that the club is ERA. For example, there are 10 members nag-donate everybody donates $25 each. Lahat sila ERA members. Pero the club is not yet ERA because the per capita is not $100. Okay, so for example, someone donated $1,000, and then there are 10 members. Obviously, $100 na or more yung per capita. So that means they will have achieved ERA club. 100% Paul Harris Society Club. I think this is a very nice banner to have. The Paul Harris Society, it means that to be a member of the Paul Harris Society, it means that you have pledged to donate at least $1,000 a year. So if all members of the club donates or pledges to donate $1,000 or more to any type of fund, then they are PHS. Members of the Paul Harris Society, and they are a PHS club. Yeah, and here I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you here how you can check whether you have achieved your banners, and this is available to officers of the club.
My Rotary. Hover on the Rotary Foundation. Click on Foundation Reports. On this page, you will find individual reports, club reports, district reports, and regional reports, depending on the roles you handle. To view the club reports relating to TRF, scroll down and look for Club Reports, Contributions and Recognition. Click on View Reports under Club Giving. This opens a new screen showing the reports available to you in your role. The Club Foundation Banner Report will help you determine your status as of date on earning the banners.
Okay, so if you click on Club Foundation Banner Report, it will show you obviously your Club Foundation Banner Report, and it looks like this. So this is an example of a Rotary Club that has already achieved TRF giving, as well as array and sustaining members. Sustaining members is actually, it means that all members have donated at least $100 to the foundation, but then there is no banner to this. Okay, so I just wanted to show you several important items on this Club Foundation Banner Report. So firstly, we've got your 1st of July members. This determines the annual fund per capita and the average TRF giving. Okay, and then you have your existing active Rotarians on this part. So for this club, all the members as of July are still active. So, but that's not necessarily true for everyone. Say, for example, there were 73 members as of July. Now, let's say, for example, 3 members have resigned. So that would mean that existing active Rotarians would show 70. So 70 out of the 1st of July members are still active. Yun po yung ibig sabihin nun. And only those 70 members are required to put in a contribution to either TRF giving or array for the club to achieve 100% giving and 100% array. Okay, so this number determines your 100% giving and 100% array. Okay, so for example, yung sa example natin kanina, 70 members ang active, and then they admitted, 1 member. Okay, so kunyari, nag-admit sila ng 1 member, nag-delete sila ng 3 members, diba? 73 yung July members, nag-delete sila ng 3 members, so that's 70. Nag-admit sila ng 1 member, so that's 71. So 71, you will find it under all active Rotarians. Okay? So yung 1 member na bago, hindi po siya required na magbigay ng contribution this year for the club to achieve yung TRF giving and array. However, if they do donate, yung contribution nila will add to annual fund per capita, because annual fund per capita and average TRF giving is calculated by getting your club's total donation for the year, including the donations from non-Rotarians, and divided by 1st of July members. Okay, and that determines whether you have achieved per capita, array and TRF giving. So for example, ito po, green, green, green. It doesn't mean na kung green po lahat to is array na kayo or TRF giving na kayo. You have to look at whether you have $100 or more on this portion. Okay, so here is another example of a club. So in here you will see may mga butas-butas pa. These are, kung Y po yan, ibig sabihin, yung Y, kailangang magbigay ng TRF and array para maka-achieve yung club ng banner. Okay, so parang kagaya po nito, si isang member nila naka-achieve ng TRF giving pero hindi pa siya array. Anong ibig sabihin nun? Yung contribution niya was to a different fund and not annual fund. Okay? So hindi siya nag-donate sa annual fund. Sabi niya, nag-donate siya sa polio. So, and then PHS eligible din siya. So for example, nag-donate siya ng $1,000 sa polio. That's why PHS eligible siya. Pero hindi naman siya nag-donate ng array and therefore hindi pa siya array member. Okay, the other report that is also very popular and very helpful is the club recognition summary. So I just wanted to show you some items in here that are useful. You've got your recognition amount. Of course, the recognition amount is only PHF recognition amount. So it does not show yung recognitions over PHF plus 8. So you know that the highest PHF level is PHF plus 8. This means that a donor or a Rotarian or, you know, someone, a person has already achieved 9,000 or more in contributions or points received. So that is your recognition amount. So if you have 9,000 or more, then you are PHF plus 8. This one, for example, has 1,513. Thus, it's still PHF. If, for example, this person donates $500 more or receives 500 points, then that increases the recognition amount to 2,000, magiging PHF plus 1 siya. Okay? And so on and so forth. Now, you would see in here, see 9,000 may asterisk. It means that this member has already, there's an asterisk beside 9,000. It means that this person has achieved major donor level or even higher, AKS, etc. The other important item in here, of course, your foundation recognition points. You will find in here how much points this person or this club, the first line is the club's points, and then the next lines for each person, how much points are available to donate to individuals. So you can only donate to individuals. You cannot donate to a club. Okay. I think that's all that's necessary information in here. And then we've got your Rotaract Giving Certificate. This went through a 3-year pilot, and now they've determined it to become a permanent award. So beginning this year, it is now a permanent award, but they've made some tweaks on this award. So club members no longer have to have a minimum number of members donating to foundation, and they need to have at least $100 contribution to the foundation in a given year. Okay? So even if, for example, isang member lang nag-donate ng $100, dati kasi ang ginagawa was 5 members dati and $50 ang contribution to the foundation to receive Rotaract Giving. So sometimes what happened was may isang member natin magbibigay ng $50, and then yung 4 members maglalagay ng $1 each, you know, just to achieve the Rotaract Giving Certificate. I don't think that that's the essence of our certificate. The certificate is there for, you know, to encourage donation, and it's not, you know, you're donating to earn a certificate. It doesn't work that way. So anyway, now they've changed it. Donation is a total of $100, and it doesn't have to be an annual fund. It can be to any kind of fund, and it can be just 1 member or 2 members. Okay. Oh, and the other thing that I wanted to say about the club recognition summary, I forgot. I'll remember later. What was it? anyway, yeah. Okay, so as I was saying, I am just one member of this very vibrant Rotary International South Pacific and Philippines office. In here, you will find all the members of our team. You've got here, if you wanted me to go through quickly from the left, Barbara Mifsud is our, Barbara Mifsud is our membership officer, but she looks after Zone 8 because that's where there is a need. The number of members are declining. We've got Sally Furto, who is also in finance. She looks after RI Juice for Australia and New Zealand. Robert Byrne is a member of the Rotary Foundation team, and he looks after, area and stuff like that. You can send him a message if you want, if you have questions regarding to TRF. We've got Angela Stavro Giannopoulos, who is our membership office, communications officer. She's mostly also involved in Australia and New Zealand. Melissa Azanza is also a member of the finance team, but she looks after New Zealand and Australia foundation contributions. Andrew Best, of course, some of you have met him. He's the club and district support supervisor. Chrissy looks after regalia and points transfers. So if you have points transfer forms, you can directly send it to her. There's no need to copy me in. If you have questions about where your pins are, where your certificates are, send Chrissy a message. Bernadette Horel is our admin officer, and she's also involved in district grants. Of course, our boss, Grace Ramirez, our regional office manager. Behind her is Mark Anderson, who is a member of the TRF team as well. He looks after major donors and endowment funds for Australia and New Zealand. He has the same role as Gretchen, who some of you may know. Mary Jane Desmond is our club and district support coordinator for Philippines, and beside her is Trudy Grice, who is the club and district support coordinator for Australia and New Zealand. Kate, Catherine Bedona, she was with me for a couple of, I think around 16 months or something, but she has sadly moved on from Rotary, and she has now resigned for a better role. And of course, yours truly, Rosalind Ong, on the right. So if you have any questions relating to, club chartering, my Rotary Club Central, and membership, you can send your queries to Mary Jane Desmond, your CDS coordinator for Philippines, and on here you will find her email address. If you have questions regarding your points transfers and your regalia, send an email to Chrissy. Gretchen is your fund development specialist, and she looks after major donors, AKS, endowment funds. And of course, if you have questions relating to your dues, contributions, or if you needed to report your deposits, and if you have questions about reports and statutory reporting is also something that I handle, then you can send an email to me. And that's it. Thank you so much for your time today.
Hello, Ms. Ross.
Thank you, Ross. That was indeed very educational, illuminating even. So let's now proceed with the open forum. District Trainer Barbette, please.
Yes, I'd like to agree with you, AG Raymond, that indeed the presentation of Ross is not only informative, but I think it's also very enlightening. I hope everyone present here will all agree. And I hope that, after this training, after this seminar, all our questions about the Rotary invoice, where to pay, how to pay, will already be answered. And our questions, our emails to Ross will also be minimized, right, Ross? So you can attend to more important matters. All right. So yeah. So the open forum is now open. So how this will go, we will just ask anyone who has a question to raise his or her hand, and I will acknowledge him or her. Yes, and we have our first reactor, no less than EPNC PDG. May Ann Solomon, please take the screen at the floor.
Thank you, Margaret. Hi, Ross. The question I will ask, would be related to polio, obviously. And with World Polio Day fast approaching, we're encouraging our Rotary actors to donate. And I believe you have some advice on their donation if they donate at least $5 or 10 on the multi-donor form. And donations of $1 and $2, what would be your advice? Because we're doing baby steps with the Rotary actors now, and the DRR here, Shibi. So this is some points of clarification on the donations of our Rotary actors to polio. And I think one question they also would like to ask is, will it be credited to them as an individual Rotary actor or to the district? So these were questions that I did not have an answer then. Maybe you can enlighten us. Thanks, Ross.
No response. So as I mentioned earlier, we can credit your contribution to you, to your personal credit, if the donation is $5 or more. So otherwise, if it's not, then we will credit it directly to the club. Okay, now crediting donations, if for example, it is credited to you individually and you are a member of a Rotaract club and this Rotaract club is a member of the district, then this contribution gets credited to three levels. Firstly, to you as your personal donation, and then to your Rotaract club, and then to the district. So there is a confusion there because previously it was credited to, an elected Rotary club, because previously, I think it was just last year when we started crediting we can credit contributions to the Rotaract clubs. Okay, so now that we've started crediting Rotaract donations to the Rotaract club, then it gets credited to your Rotaract club and no longer to the Rotary club. Now, there are members who are dual members. If they are dual members, then they will have to elect which club they want their contribution credited to. So if they say they want it to the Rotary club, then they will have to tell me or to the Rotaract club, etc. Yeah, but
Thanks,
then
Ross.
with regards to $1, $2 contributions, we've become really strict on that because it's not, it's very it takes a lot of time to put in your donations. So it's just a lot of admin work. We just put it into the Rotary club instead, and it still gets credited to the Rotaract. To the Rotaract club. So it gets credited. It will show us, TRF giving of the Rotaract club.
All right, thank you.
Thanks,
I
Ron.
hope that your question has been answered, Govmayan. Okay, very good. I will just acknowledge the next person who will ask the question. So it will be in this order. I'll call Yang Alaniel O Bumanglang. May you please introduce from what club you are, Yang?
I'm from Rotary Club of Metro Surigao.
Metro Surigao, okay.
I'm the present club treasurer.
Mm-hmm.
Just clarification only. How many days it will be reflected in my Rotary after we have paid BPI or RI dues?
Well, so this year I have started trialing a new process because in the previous years when I receive donation, what I do is I record it into annual fund. Now the problem was that there were so many reclassifications and it ginugulo niya yung books natin. So this year I'm trialing a new process where I have to receive. If you notice a while ago when I was showing you the referencing, I said put in your ID number stroke the type of fund that you want to put it donate in. So there are a lot of times when it's just the ID number, the name, and I don't know what type of fund you are putting into. So the problem is I put it into an annual fund, and then after 3 months, 4 months, you tell me, look, this is supposed to be for polio fund. So it causes a lot of trouble in our books. And so what we're doing now is, if I did not see the type of fund in your reference, then I will wait for you to tell me where you want to put it in. But it has to be within the same month when I record it, and our books close within 10 months after the month end. Okay, now going back to your question though, I try to post.
What's the default, Ross? The default.
Sorry, po.
What's the default? If the member does not specify to which program
default.
account
So if you if you do not send me an advice by the 10th day of the next month, then I will record it to annual fund chair. Okay.
Okay, so
Then you only have 60 days for this to be reclassified. And I know, like, EPNC Mean, she knows how much reclassifications there had to be done in the previous year. So that is really quite difficult for us, and trying to steer away from that now. The other thing was, if I try to put in, post donations at least every day if I have the information. But then of course you would understand that I look after 10 districts by myself, and that's international, Rotary International, both RI and TRF, dues and contributions, statutory reporting. So there are times, like for example, September, October, November, ito po yung peak months natin. Lahat po ng, ang mga kababayan po natin mahilig mag-email. So ang daming email, ang daming 700 emails so
Yes.
I'm sure you would understand that they have to go through all of this. Pag peak season po, madami po talaga tayong delays.
Okay. So
other thing is, also last year we moved to a different system, and this has been it's not easy for Rotary International to move to a new system, because tayo lang naman, it's not a very normal accounting, if you know, like tayo lang naman ang may awards, mga PHF awards dahil nag-donate, tayo lang naman yung mga may mga banners na ganyan. So nahihirapan yung bagong system natin na i-determine yung mga ganyan, kaya medyo ang daming errors. We're going through it, but yeah, I hope you understand that there are currently errors and delays in reporting, etc.
all right, so Rotarians, a little patience. Nag-iisa lang si Ross and handling 10 clubs, in the Philippines. All right, so as a follow-up question to that question, Ross, you were saying that you have 60 days for reclassification because the default is the annual fund, right? So does
Yes.
that mean that after 60 days, if the Rotarian or the club does not specify to which program does the funds do the funds be credited, does that mean that it stays with the annual fund and there's no way that it can be reclassified anymore?
Yeah, that's the policy po. It has to stay where it was credited to.
Very clear.
And also the 60 days, if the that only applies if the books have not yet closed. So for example po, June 25 kayo nag-deposit, counting 60 days you would have had until end of August to reclassify. However, the books for that year has already closed. So you need to also consider that it is within the same Rotary year and the books for that Rotary year has not closed.
All right. Okay. I have here, before I call the next reactor, I'd like to read out a question which was sent as a direct message to me, and this is coming from a Rotaractor. It says here, we plan to do a district-wide End Polio Now donation drive. I would like to confirm that it is, if it's okay with the district, to process the multiple donor form on behalf of the participating clubs.
Yes, for me, that is most ideal if one person can organize all of the donations and then just, put in one lump sum amount deposit as much as you could, put in one lump sum deposit and send me the
Question ni Archie Beth.
the and send me the breakdown of donors by filling up a multiple donor form in Excel format, then that will be appreciated. And also, if the district representative who is doing this, if you wanted me to send you the list of Rotaractors as of today in our database, then I can also send you that, and we'll make it easier for you to fill up the donor form with all the details, donor ID, donor name, etc.
All right, thank you. Very well explained. I have here another reaction from the chat box. It was actually directly sent to me. And the question came from President Archie Gamboa of the Rotary Club of Downtown Davao. And he's asking, and if you want to further clarify your question, Press Archie, I'll give the floor to you, but let me read out your question. Even if the oath taking is on September 2, is it still considered a full month? Was that your question? Is that how I understand it?
So, so if you added or recorded the admission date of the Rotarian as 2nd of September, then it's not a full month. So this member, the member is officially a member as of 2nd of September. However, we will not bill for September. We will start billing in October.
Oh, great. Good. All right. Thumbs up from Press Archie. So I think I'm satisfied with the answer. All right. Let me call, I think I'd like to call, because this is Doc Alain Senderpida, our Deputy Polio Coordinator. So maybe his question is still related to polio, if I'm not mistaken. So I'd like to call DPC Alain Senderpida, please.
Yes, thank you, Beth. Good evening, Ross. Thank you for your very nice lecture. It's very detailed. What I would like to ask is, diba, you showed the BPI account, tapos the payer should go to the payments or billers, and then they should enroll, right? Now, for example, if the Rotarian has no BPI account, they have a different app like Metrobank, whatever. Can they still enroll the Rotary account through their app or what?
Well, what I noticed is that the Rotary, the RI and TRF accounts are able to accept fund transfers from different banks. However, there is no enrollment of such. So what happens is when we receive these transfers from a different bank, it shows us transfer money from a different bank. So we can't identify this transfer to any club. So we will need to wait for your advice to be able to post this to as a donation or as juice payment. So it's very crucial that if you're doing a different bank or institution transfer to BPI, then you send us an email. And the other thing that I wanted to say, this is accepted with bank-to-bank transfers. However, our accounts, both RI and TRF, do not accept GCash transfers. So some people have made GCash transfers and then are claiming that it's there. But the fact is, your money should not have been taken out from your account. It should still be there because apparently we cannot accept GCash transfers.
Yeah, so if they have a different bank and then they have an app, right? So can they enroll the Rotary their billers?
Yeah, I think you can like physically add say for example account RI account number 001118801 for example, i-add nyo po yung account number na yon and then say Rotary International na to. Sa inyo lang po yung view na yon. Hindi po namin nakikita yon. So sa amin, yung enrollment po na yon is for your purpose only para maging convenient po sa inyo na every time you put in another payment to us, then you're able to easily find it. But for us, it's just, it looks like a general transfer from another bank.
So mahirap pala. So they should have a BPI account in order for them to have to enroll to the billers.
Well,
Is
it
that
is more convenient po. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely if it's more convenient for BPI users to enroll BPI. But then, we understand that if it's not your preferred bank, then that's understandable. We're not pushing you to have to create a BPI account just because RI and TRF are with BPI. It's not necessary po. There
Kasi-
are ways.
Yeah, doon kasi nagka-problema with the other Rotarians having a different account.
Yeah.
So that's where we're looking for the account, where it is gonna go and like that. So yun
Opo.
ang ano namin. So at least
Yeah.
everybody will know. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
No
All right,
worries
thank
po.
you, DPC Alain Señor-Pida. So we have the sequence of the next reactors, starting with the Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente Community-Based Past President J.N. Danny Dagandan, then followed by DRRE Remuel Coles. And of course, I'd like to read one question here in the chat box. So that will be the order. So if there will be other reactors, you will have to follow the line. So it will be the fourth, fifth, and so on and so forth. So may I call on Past President J.N. Danny, please. JN?
Once again, good evening to all. So I would like to ask a question to regards to the prorated dues. For example, because the Rotaract will be billed for the first invoice on January, right? So if a club will have a new member more or less on March or April, and how would be the prorate? Is it still be prorated for the dues?
Yes po. So the pro rata dues for members that are admitted March or April 2023
Yes.
will be shown in the next invoice, which is July 2023. So next Rotary year na po siya mabibill. Yeah, pro rata dues po.
Thank you.
Sige po.
All right, okay. Remuel, please, your turn.
Good evening, Miss Ross. I'm sorry I cannot open my camera now for a very unstable internet. Rimol Coles from the Rotary Club of Metro Surigao. I'd like to just a point of clarification. Earlier in your presentation, you've made mention of the termination of the club for failure of RI dues payment 120 days after the due date. So may we know if it is also in effect or effective to Rotary clubs or only for Rotary clubs? Thank you.
Oh, yes, I think, what's that? I'll have to, yeah, I remember that I had looked that up before. I think it was 120 days as well. It's the same, but then I think the only difference is that because I didn't really want to mention this, but then actually you only get terminated if you have a balance of 250 or more. So for them, I think it's $75 or more. So I think that's the difference. But then the termination cutoff period is the same. If I made a mistake on that statement, I will inform the district so that I'll change the statement if it was an erroneous statement.
All right.
Thank you, Ms. Tito Berbet, can I have an additional question po?
Go ahead.
This is in relation to the same slide you presented earlier, Ms. Ross. If ever the Rotary Club is terminated, do we also have to pay for the reinstatement $30 per member, as being mentioned earlier?
Sorry. Can you repeat the question po?
Earlier you've made mention if ever the club is terminated and each member, if the club plans to recharter or reinstate the club, each member, for example, 20 members of the Rotaractors will also pay
$30.
individually the $30 reinstatement.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's actually that hasn't been cleared out by our team. It wasn't in the facts. I think they're going to issue more, the clearer policies over time. So it's something to watch out for.
Okay, thank you, Miss Ross. Thank you,
Sorry,
DP Barbette.
it's not very clear yet with Rotaract clubs po.
Okay, but that's a very important question. I agree.
Yes, I agree.
Since this is a new policy, so I think I agree with you, Ross, that we should have to wait for Rotary to make official announcements.
Yeah.
For now, I think we are just on a trial period. So anyway, let me read out a question that was sent earlier through the chat box. I think this can be read by everyone, but I'd like to read it aloud. And I think a lot of Rotarians, especially the Paul Harris Society members, be very much interested about this question. So the question is, for PHS members, if we contribute $500 to annual giving plus $500 to polio, so it's still $1,000, but it's specified not to both programs, annual giving and polio. Do we still, or do they still comply with the PHS pledge?
Yes po. So for PHS, it's any type of fund, including endowment fund. So oh yes, actually yun po yung pala yung nakalimutan ko kaninang i-add na if you are making a contribution towards endowment fund, hindi po siya nag-earn ng points. But that is the only difference for endowment fund. However, it still adds to your total giving. So nakaka-earn pa rin po siya ng PHS ninyo.
All right. But the only difference I'd like to make mention again, the only difference is that it doesn't earn any points.
Points,
right?
yes po. Yes,
Good.
correct.
Clarified. Okay, and we have a reminder here from, and maybe EPNC government, and would like to remind everyone, and maybe you can also remind them, Ross, that Rotarians must not pay more because they added members, or they pay less because they delisted members. They should only pay the amount stated in the invoice. Correct, Ross?
Yes. Well, yes, that's true. And kasi po, well, actually, if you pay more, it will be credited against your next invoice. It's just that there's no reason to pay more because you know you're forecasting the amount that you will be paying as pro rata dues. We will bill it to you anyway. So just pay it when it is billed to you on the next invoice. So, and also I think previously the reason why people are paying in advance, it was because they were forecasting an increase in exchange rate. And now that we have translated all invoices to Philippine peso, using exchange rates on July and January. So there is no reason to forecast anymore. So for example, sabihin nyo po December, feeling nyo po magi-increase yung USD ng January, babayaran nyo na ng December. Ganun po yung ginagawa dati. Hindi na po mag-work yun kasi itatranslate pa rin po namin using January exchange rate.
Correct. Correct. Oh, I hope that everyone understood that. In relation to payments also, Ross, I'd like to make this question. When I was the district secretary then in 2019, I received a lot of questions from presidents and members that apparently it's not a club member, but it's just a club clerk or any other non-Rotarian that the club has asked to pay for the dues. And then here comes the problems because these people are not familiar with our payment policies or payment system. So I think this should not be a question anymore, but this is just an advice to Rotarians that should you ask someone to pay in behalf of the club or on your behalf, make sure that you give correct instructions. Yes. That's just my feedback.
Yes, po. Well, this, for example, this presentation is really helpful because we never used this is the first time actually that I've done such presentation, or well, previous year I've done one, and then I feel like it's nababaon po yung mga policies natin, yung procedures natin, kasi somehow people find it unimportant, but actually nahihirapan pareho tayo kasi hindi namin na-identify, for example, yung payments nyo or yung contributions nyo dahil wrong yung pagkaka-record nyo or report nyo, and then kami rin nahihirapan kasi hindi namin mabalanse yung books. And then at the same time, hindi lang po yun yung way na makakatulong kami. For club officers, there are also, the club reports. So I think it's like it's really an honor to be able to present these things to you para po meron akong avenue para ipakita sa inyo kung ano yung tamang way ng kung saan kami makakatulong.
All right, thank you. And we have one more question here in the chat box, Ross. This is coming from Assistant Governor Vincent Edward Ang, and his question goes, can you please make sure that endowment fund can be credited towards Paul Harris Society commitment, as I know that APF, Polio Fund, and specific GG are the only ones stated in the website. It's a statement, I think, more of a statement than a question.
Yeah. From whom po yung question natin? Can I?
From Assistant Governor Vincent Ang.
Yeah, okay po. Sige. AG Vincent, I'll send you an email to clarify. I'll just review my notes po. But yeah, I'll check po.
Thank you, Ross.
Thank you po, AG Vincent.
All right, and one more question. I think I need to read this because this is I feel this is important. From Archie Gamboa, President Archie of RC Downtown Davao again. He is asking if it's safe to say that when RI announces an exchange rate, it is good and consistent for the rest of the month. Can we also say that the exchange rate may change on a monthly basis only?
If Rotary International has declared an exchange rate, ano po yun, yung question?
Is it safe to say that when RI announces an exchange rate, it is good and consistent for the rest of the month? Meaning, it does not change.
Oh, yes.
It is.
Opo.
Okay.
Definitely po yung exchange rate na dinideclare po natin at the start of the month is the exchange rate for the whole month.
The entire month.
For the whole month po yun. So the next time we change the exchange rate is in the next month po.
All right.
It doesn't matter that nag-increase po yung exchange rate within the month for foreign exchange rates, but sa amin po same na po yun.
All right, so that answers the follow-up question. Okay, because the follow-up question here is, can we also say that the exchange rate may change on a monthly basis only? So what I understand is that
It does.
Per month.
Yeah.
Per month.
Opo.
Okay, any other questions from the House, please?
And just on AG Vincent's question po. So I'm just reading through the TRF reference guide as of the moment. It says it recognizes individuals who notify us of their intention to contribute 1,000 or more each year to the annual fund, Polio Fund, and approved global grant. So you are correct. Thank you for pointing that out, AG Ed. It's only to annual fund, Polio Fund, and global grant.
Okay.
To earn
so much,
Pohari
Ross, for
Society.
clarifications.
Okay, confirm then. All right, any other questions? Okay, no more reaction. I think they understood the presentation. All right.
Or not.
Or not. I think they're very, very satisfied. I really appreciate this training and this seminar because I think it also takes off the load from
the district.
From the district, not only from the district governor Lilo Alino, but also from our district secretary and the assistant governors, because they keep on asking and the questions are, just the same, they're repeated. So thank you so much. So let's continue the program. I'd like to turn over the floor again to our Assistant Governor, Raymond Alfar.
Thank you, DT Babette.
Ross, thank you again. In behalf of Area 1D Presidents, Esther Concha, President-elect Jose Marie Ponce, Aniana Walsh, Lloyd Aliviado, and Claudine Hibaya, we will present to you our e-certificate of appreciation. Certificate of appreciation is presented to Rosaline Ong for her invaluable time and resources during the webinar, Managing Your Club Finances. given this 12th day of September 2022 via Zoom meeting, signed by District Governor Lilo Alinio and yours truly, Raymond Alfar. Thank you very much, Rose. Sa
Thank you,
uulitin.
AG Raymond.
Thank you very much, Ross. So maybe at this point, we will ask everyone to please show your faces on screen. Turn on your cams.
No, before we all go, we still have the closing ceremony. We're
Okay.
also fortunate that despite her very busy schedule, she is also with us right now to do the closing remarks. So let's welcome our District Governor, Lilo Alinio.
My respects to the mute. My respects to APNC, Mean Solomon, past District Governor Bing Garcia, who's here. Of course, our immediate past District Governor Ana Bumagat, and of course, District Governor-elect Twinkle Gamboa, our imaginative district officers and imaginative presidents, fellow Rotarians and Rotaractors, good evening. We would like, on behalf of District 3860, we'd like to express our deep and sincere gratitude to you, our dear financial consultant, the lovely Rosalyn Ong, who's very, very hardworking. We had a very comprehensive and empowering presentation, and really appreciate this very much for us to have an effective club administration as we learn more on managing club finances and also becoming more effective and responsible as club officer. So we thank you for this invaluable opportunity to learn more about managing funds. And maraming salamat sa iyo, Ross. And I would also like to thank our 170 tops in a while ago participants who made a choice tonight to learn more and be more for this very invaluable seminar. So thank you, Rotarians and Rotaractors, for your presence tonight. Maraming salamat to Ross, and daghang salamat, maayong gabi kaninyong tanan.
Thank you, DG Lilu.
Also, I would like to acknowledge also the assistance of course, our district trainer, Barbet Lobinoque, and Rotary Club of Cebu Fuente Secretary, Tops the cool guy, our IT guy. Thank you very much. And of course, Rose, I know it is midnight in Australia. Thank you very much for your time. So let's now have our
Pictorial.
tutorial.
Photo op.
Okay. Open your cams. Okay, page 1. 1, 2, 3, smile. Page 2 of 5. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, page 3. 1, 2, 3, smile. 4. 1, 2, 3, smile. Last. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, thank you.
Okay. The webinar Managing Your Club Finances is now officially adjourned.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ross.
everybody.
Thank you very much, Ross.
Ross, thank you.
Thank you, Gamean, Gobana.
Thank you, everyone.
Our district trainer, Barbet, super. And
Congrats, Goblilo, District Trainer Barbet. Congrats, AG Raymond and the Area 1D Club.
Thank you, everybody.
Assistant Governor Raymond.
Thank you also.
Thank you. We have our district